Chris Broussard now joining us live via the Coward Global Satellite Network. Let's forget dynasty talk, because to be a dynasty, generally the perception is, Chris, you got to win 2 or 3 finals. But my eyes, I trust my eyes. Length, speed, shooting, ball handling. The game's more global. Golden State's got multiple guys 6'7" and up that can bring the ball up the floor, lead a break, finish a break. My eyes are telling me this is special. You've covered this league for 20 years. What are your eyes telling you?
Oh, the same thing. This is definitely an all-time great team. You're right. We can't talk dynasty for a few years, but you can be an all-time great team for one season. Remember 1983 Philadelphia 76ers,
yeah.
Moses Malone and Dr. J. That was an all-time great team. That was also the last time we had 2 MVPs in their prime on the same team, and they went 4-5-4. Remember Moses Malone?
Yeah.
They actually swept Magic and Kareem both in their prime. So this is an all-time great team. You heard Magic Johnson say that they would have swept this Warriors team. There's no way. Obviously, the Warriors couldn't have guarded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
right,
but the Lakers wouldn't have been able to guard them either, so you would have been trading 2 for 3. So I don't want to belittle that Lakers team, but this is certainly an all-time great team.
Yeah, LeBron's fourth quarter numbers have not been great in this series, but he's had great games, triple-doubles. Now, we've seen, Chris, John Wall get worn out. We've seen Harden, Westbrook. Okay, this is LeBron's 7th straight final. He's not performing great in the fourth. He is a human. Is it possible? Are you seeing some tendencies or a trend here? He's gassed. At the end of these games, he doesn't have a ton left.
I totally agree. I think he's worn down. And look, there was a stat that came out. He's played 214 NBA playoff games. These last 2 against the Warriors were the fastest pace of those 214 games ever. So he's worn out in the second half or in the fourth quarter. There's no question about that. Because not only is the pace frenetic, but he's also guarding Kevin Durant. And if you look at during the regular season, even the playoffs this year, he would often not guard the best perimeter player. He didn't guard Paul George all the time when they played them. You know, he would guard somebody else, and that would enable him to roam around, get steals, cause havoc defensively, but also to coast and to pace himself. And that's how he was able to play, lead the league in minutes in his 14th season. But this is a different animal. I don't like what I've heard from Cleveland yesterday about Tyronn Lue and LeBron saying we play fast. That's how we're going to do it. I hope it's a smoke screen because the fact is they don't play fast. They were 16th in the league in pace and 16th in the league in fast break points. So stop, being prideful and slow it down and try to win the series.
Very good point, Chris Broussard live in Cleveland. I want you to go back when Kevin Durant landed in Golden State. It wasn't prophetic, but you came out and said, listen, they're going to win the championship. This is absurd. Go back to when it happened, because Steve Kerr said yesterday, they've just seamlessly worked together. Now, I think it's a little bit of an indictment that he couldn't work in 8 years perfectly with Westbrook, and he works perfectly with Steph Curry in an hour. But go back to when it first happened. What were execs saying to you? Do you think that Steph and KD's seamless transition has surprised people, or did they see it coming?
I think there are some that were surprised by how quickly, because, a lot of people thought it would take a year. We saw it take a year with Wade and LeBron in Miami. So a lot of people thought that would be the case. And then there were others that thought he would fit in seamlessly. I was in that group, but people around the league, the ones that felt that way, felt like his game, he can catch and shoot. He doesn't have to dominate the basketball.
Yeah.
He's an unselfish player. So they felt like he would fit in perfectly with their system, and that's how I felt too. So, look, if you put LeBron in Golden State, everything would change. The system would probably have to change. But that's not the case with Durant. He's a different type of player, and he fits perfectly with this system. That's one reason he did want to go there. It wasn't just as a ring chaser. It was, I love the way they play the game, and, yeah, we can win rings too.
Yeah, he said that. He likes the way they play the game. So Gordon Hayward could leave his team, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, so LeBron leaves, gets a ring, it's all great. KD leaves, it's been unbelievable. God, if I'm Gordon Hayward, I'm Paul George, I'm Jimmy Butler, I can make a little more money, but you talk to these players. KD is sending a message, is he not, Chris, that guys, go find other great players. It's a lot of fun.
He's definitely sending that message. And look, talking to guys around the league, I'm sure there were some that were pulling for Golden State, but most I talked to were pulling for Cleveland because they didn't really like the move that KD made. But if you want to compete, you're going to have to do the same thing. Like Paul George, to me, if he can get to Cleveland, go to Cleveland. It's a no-brainer. You'll get your money, and you're only 27. In 4 or 5 years, you could go to the Lakers if that's what your heart desires. But this is every team now. We've heard about Chris Paul and the Spurs. Every team in the league now has to figure out a way to get some type of superstar trio to compete with these guys in Golden State, or it's going to be a wash for the next 4 years.
Yeah. By the way, Lonzo Ball is working out today. We've got a camera there. I know you don't have you're not going to be there. You're worried about the finals. There was another report. The Lakers aren't in on Lonzo Ball completely. I think it's a bunch of baloney. Do you believe that the Celtics have settled on Fultz and the Lakers have settled on Ball? They won't tell anybody. They don't want to lose leverage. But do your sources believe the top 2 picks are settled in stone?
I don't know if I'd say set in stone. I think that's where both teams are leaning. But you have to do your due diligence. I know that De'Aaron Fox is definitely rising up some boards. There's no question about it. A lot of people like him, and some even like him better than Ball. So I think the Lakers and the Celtics, you have to work these people out. You have to see what they can do and see how you think they fit in your system. So I wouldn't say set in stone, but I definitely think those teams are leaning toward Fultz and Ball for sure.